What's going on? Welcome to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Waiver Wire Queen. In today's episode, we are going to talk about some players you should consider stashing on your bench or starting these guys. Now, this is the practice squad, and some of these players are dangerous starts, but if you start them and they have a good game, you'll look like a genius in fantasy football. But if they stink it up, then your league mates will want to revoke your fantasy football card. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have a lot of great content which will help you every week in fantasy basketball. And make sure you have those notifications turned on. Now, let's talk about those players on the practice squad. We're going to kick this thing off with Wan'Dale Robinson with my New York Giants. That is right. Wan'Dale Robinson with the New York Giants has been out dealing with a knee injury, finally returned week 6 and didn't play as much, which was expected. If you have been following the Giants and know anything about Coach, you know that if you haven't really practiced a lot or if you've been dealing with some injuries, he takes the cautious approach and will kind of slowly bring you along, which is fine for Wan'Dale Robinson, because from a dynasty standpoint, you want to make sure that going forward he's available and not have any setbacks injury wise. Well, he played. He had 4 targets, 3 receptions, 37 yards, and a touchdown. That is flex-worthy playing time, right? Exactly. Now with Wan'Dale, he should start seeing more time on the field. You got to think Tony is still out. Um, Galladay is out. Shepard is out for the year. So their best wide receiver is Slayton, and he was in the doghouse until they just simply had no choice but to play him. So Wan'Dale Robinson should instantly be their top wide receiver. He has playmaker ability, and he should end up producing for you. Give him some more time. Try to stash him on your bench, especially if you are struggling with injuries and bye week. Wan'Dale Robinson is a dangerous play also because the Giants don't typically throw the football a whole lot. They are a run heavy offense, and a lot of times they look to get Saquon Barkley involved. But if you have the opportunity to add Wan'Dale Robinson, then make sure you do so, because Wan'Dale Robinson should be a very good option for you. Now, let's keep this thing going and talk about Tyquan Thornton with the New England Patriots. This is a dangerous play. He is more of a deep threat, but Bailey Zappi has been playing extremely well, shockingly, right? Got to give him his props. And he is getting his wide receivers involved. Thornton has returned, was dealing with some injuries early on this season. He's back. He had 4 receptions, 437 yards, and a touchdown. 3 carries for 16 yards and a touchdown. He was involved. And I expect as he continues to get more familiar with the offense and more playing time, you should see more opportunities for him, especially as deep threat, because that is what they drafted him to be, the deep threat. So he's dangerous because specifically he's the deep threat, right? And then also you got to factor in the fact that, hey, if they're utilizing him in the run game as well, he is definitely a good option. So do not sleep on Tyquan Thornton. Now let's keep this thing going with David Bellinger with my New York Giants. He's a solid rookie tight end. He's been the starter all season long when healthy. You're starting to see him play more, and they are utilizing him in several different ways. On the season, 17 targets for 15 receptions, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Okay, with rookie tight ends, you know, they say it takes some time for them to get familiar with the position. Well, he's looking really good. He's solid as a blocking tight end. When you can block as a tight end, you're going to see opportunities on the football field, especially if you can catch. And so he's able to do both of those. And so he's a good add. Let's be real. A lot of tight ends we thought who were going to have a really good season this year simply haven't produced. And then you got to deal with injuries, bye weeks. He is a dangerous play, but we like dangerous because dangerous may lead to success in fantasy football. You have to take chances. Now let's talk about Greg Dulcich, rookie tight end with the Denver Broncos, finally able to play, was activated from IR. He's healthy. Albert O was inactive week 6 versus the Chargers. And Greg played 70% of the snaps, which is very good for your first NFL start. Saubert barely even got on the football field. So it's looking like Greg is the starter. And if he's the starter and he's going to be involved, you want him on your side. You want the starting tight end for the Denver Broncos because they're going to get him involved. He had 3 targets for 2 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Okay, the way Greg Dulcich is going to be a great asset to him because apparently he's not getting the ball down the field as much. Add Greg Dulcich. I don't care what you have to do to get him on your roster. Get him on your roster. If you are holding on to players like Austin Hooper, get him off your team. Get him off your team. You don't need any of the Carolina tight ends or the Colts tight ends, okay? Add this young man. It's a high risk, high reward. I do believe they'll continue to get him involved. Just think about it. First ever game, inactivated Alberto, who was supposed to be the guy this year, and played over 70%, right? And was involved. So that is someone you want on your side. Don't wait for him to have one of those huge games where, you know, he's got like 6-7 catches, 100 yards, don't wait for that. This is still a good time to add him. It's very dangerous, but hell, we like dangerous, okay? Because there is a lot of risk, but the reward is substantial. So consider adding Greg Dulcich. And let's talk about Kyren Williams with the Rams. Cam Akers is on the trading block. Do not believe he's ever going to play for the Rams again. So instantly, Henderson is the starter, right? That's what happened week 6. And so if Henderson is still on waivers, pick him up. Check out my episode on waiver wire ads. We talked about some running backs, and Henderson was one of those running backs. Now, if you are in a position to stash Kyren Williams on your roster, then do so. That is in a dynasty, keeper, redraft. Add him because he should be coming back, right, from injury. Dealt with an ankle injury, had surgery, projected to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So they may end up activating him within the next few weeks. I do believe it'll be after their bye week to give him that extra time. So what does that mean? Okay, Malcolm Brown is not going to end up being a backup. I believe Kyren Williams can come in and take at least the backup spot, but he is going to see opportunity, especially if the Rams aren't winning games. They're going to want to see what they have in Kyren Williams because they need to know before they go to the 2023 NFL draft, right? And then also, Henderson hasn't played great all season long. So Kyren Williams deserves opportunity, and I think he'll be a solid add. So this is for deep leagues if you have the space on your roster to add him. And remember, he's on IR. So if you have an IR spot, then you can utilize him in that IR spot, which will still give you an extra spot. Rachaad White with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, running back, great third down running back and PPR option. He's got the endorsement of Tom Brady. That's all you need to know. They're starting to get him more involved on offense, which is good. He should be in that James White role from the Patriots, right? That's what I envision him having. And as the season goes on, he's going to probably start seeing more opportunities. And he's a playmaker, and he has the ability to make plays. So if you want to be dangerous and you want to take a chance on White. Again, you're starting to see him trend up with his playing time. And that's what we love to see. And again, when you are on the field more, that leads to more opportunities for you to make plays. And a lot of these guys have the potential to make plays, big plays, game-changing plays to help you overcome issues like the injuries, the bye week issues, and just players not playing well. There are so many players who you had high expectations for, and they simply haven't lived up to anybody's expectations, and they damn sure ain't living up to the hype. And so you have to look for players. Now, these guys are on the practice squad for a reason, because it can go either way. So remember, when you add these guys and put them in your starting lineup, if they do well, then tell them Waiver Wire told you to add them and start them with confidence. But if they stink it up, don't mention my name, y'all. Don't mention Waiver Wire Queen. But no, leave some comments and let me know your thoughts of this week's players we recommend for the practice squad. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have a lot of great content, which will help you every week in fantasy football. I'll see you guys on Saturday. We have the players we love in week 7. These are the players we think have a great matchup on their side and should start. Y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast.